Guarding shifty players is hands down one of the hardest things to do as a defender, but honestly, it doesn't have to be that way. After this video, you will realize that guarding shifty players isn't as hard as you think. The first tip is just to crowd the ball handler, and this may seem simple, and honestly it is. This is a strategy that I use and it works overnight. I was so surprised how well it worked. And what you want to do is you just want to simply crowd the ball handler when he starts to dribble, right? Because if a ball handler doesn't have enough space to operate, then he can't perform those shifty moves. It's really as simple as that. You can't dribble if I'm in your space, right? So if you're in his space or in her space, that eliminates all of those shifty moves, right? Players who are really great at this, especially against Kyrie Irving, were Avery Bradley and Klay Thompson, just to name a couple. They would just simply crowd Kyrie Irving, who's the shiftiest dribbler of all time, right? So when you're guarding a shifty player, just get as close as you can to them. Whenever they start, getting into their combo moves, just crowd them. Because the last thing you want is for a shifty player to get comfortable, right? If you let them just sit there and dribble, they're doing exactly, what they want to do. And you want it to be the opposite, right? Like, you do not want them to get comfortable at all, right? Because if you let someone like Kyrie Irving get into their rhythm and start going between, cross, between, they're setting up something that you're not going to be able to stop, right? Because they're already in their rhythm, right? But if you crowd them, you force them to get out of their comfort zone. And a lot of shifty players don't know how to respond to being crowded. Obviously Kyrie Irving is Kyrie Irving, so he could find a way, but I'd much rather Kyrie try to score without dribbling than to let him ISO me with 30,000 different moves out on the perimeter, right? As y'all see in the background, Klay Thompson, Avery Bradley, they would just get up in him, right? Pause. They would just get into his space, and y'all should do the same. The tip is to not fall for the first move. I see way too many young players make this mistake, and it should not be a mistake that's common, honestly, because you have to understand a shifty player will never just do one move and go. That's just not in their DNA. The way they train combo moves in order to shift you either direction. Maybe NBA players, like the Kyrie Irvings and Darius Garlands and Steph Currys, they can do one move and go, right? Because they're in the NBA for a reason. But other than that, a shifty player is not going to do one move and go. That's just not how they train. They train combo moves and all type of different variations in order to get you to lean one direction. So I don't care how convincing it is that they go one direction, they're not going that way more times than not. So if they try to hang dribble or float to one specific side, don't overly commit to that side, right? You're just asking to get crossed over the other way, right? Just sit in a chair and just sit there. They're not going to go on that first move, right? Next tip is just realizing that most shifty players are bad actors. And as you can see in the background, Jalen Green is pretending like he's not in attack mode, not looking at the rim, looking away from the basket, right? He's just acting like he's about to pass it. He's very passive, right? And all of a sudden he just turns it up and tries to speed downhill. But Lou Dort, on two separate occasions, poked the ball away, right? Because he's seen right through it, right? Jalen Green was a very bad actor on these two possessions. Please don't be that defender that lets, offensive players get past them by doing this, right? And as an offensive player, this is really called a speed change or changing your pace, where you slow down, and then you just turn it up to another level, trying to catch that defender off guard. But as a defender, make sure you're on guard. The next tip is to simply stop reaching at the ball handler, right? this is one of the biggest mistakes that all coaches, hate, right? There's no reason you should be reaching at a shifty ball handler. That's exactly what they want you to do. As soon as you reach, they're going to teach, right? Y'all know the saying. The last tip I have for y'all is to guard more shifty players. Matter of fact, stop being afraid to guard shifty players, right? A lot of players always ask me, how do you guard shifty players? But yet when they go to, open runs, gym sessions, whatever, scrimmages, they never guard the opposing team's best player, right? They never do. They back down from the challenge. They guard the less threatening offensive player, and they think that they can get better on defense by doing that. And that's just not how it works. That's like me saying, okay, I want to become a better shooter, but I take 0 shots in the game, right? How am I going to get better, shooting the basketball if I don't shoot the basketball, right? How am I going to get better at guarding shifty players if I don't guard shifty players, right? So what you can do is go to the gym or park or wherever they, have 5-on-5 runs, 4-on-4 runs, and just guard the opposing team's best player, right? Like, it doesn't count for anything. Who cares if you get your ankles broke? Who cares if you get 30 put on your head? Who cares, right? You're there to get better. Just pull up, if you're younger, get somebody to drop you off, whatever, and just guard the opposing team's best player for the entire day. This is what personally I feel like has really helped my defense over my, pretty much entire life, right? Starting from 10 years old to now. I just show up and I guard the opposing team's best players. I don't care who it is, what level they play at, how tall they are. I'm 5'9". I've guarded guys who were 6'7", 6'8", didn't care, didn't back down. I know if I want to consider myself a lockdown defender, I have to lock down the best guys. It's that simple, right? Y'all have to have that same mentality. If somebody is a great ball handler, they can do every dribble move in the book, they're shifting everybody on the court, they're breaking ankles, you shouldn't be nervous. It should be the opposite. You should be wanting to, eagerly wanting to guard that guy or guard that girl, right? But that'll be all for today's video. Hopefully after this video, y'all learned, how to guard those shifty players a little better. If y'all want a part 2, let me know and I'll make sure I'll get that out ASAP. I'll see y'all in the next one.